where senior officers or their allies can even contemplate using such measures, then the safeguards are not working. The safeguards are not in place. And that's the point I wish to make as a result of that exchange, Commissioners.
Thank you, thank you. But for what you said at the beginning, it is exactly for similar reasons that I wanted the name to be exposed, but for the reasons you gave, I will not insist that we do so, at least not at this stage.
Thank you, Chair. And from my position, it's merely to say not at this stage, but that I will establish whether there are any real risks in exposing the name publicly or not.
Ms. Hassim, good morning.
Good morning.
My reading of page 2 of the affidavit. So there's the heading, some background, and then reference to 2 articles. And the SANEF one, which is the last one with the blue color on your printout, suggests to me that this journalist believes that the break-in was linked to her writing stories about crime intelligence, surveilling journalists. So I don't read it to suggest that what was said in the chats was the reason for the break-in into her house. My reading of it is that her writing articles talking about crime intelligence, surveilling journalists, at least she believes that that was what resulted in the break-in. And that's one way of reading it. You may read it, obviously, in many ways. I just thought that should be placed on record so that we don't create the impression that she says in her affidavit that because of the chats, there was then a break-in at her house.
That's correct, Commissioner. She doesn't say that at all, that she wasn't aware of the conversation that took place until recently, that took place between General Khan and this officer. And what's clear is that there's a lot of reporting that was taking place that on crime intelligence, you see, Commissioner, it's 2 things. It's reporting on what's taking place amongst senior officers in crime intelligence. And then there are attacks, alleged attacks against his journalists, which appear to come from crime intelligence. And then there's the attack. So all of it together is the context. She doesn't link the 2. I'm the one who's making the link between the 2. And I'm saying that the sequencing is relevant, the timing is relevant, and that it bears, it warrants further investigation.
Ms. Hassim, insofar as you want to make something of a fact whether or not General Khan said anything to distance himself from this, and obviously you would want to draw certain conclusions from that. Was this incident publicized in the media?
This particular housebreaking incident, I don't...
Yeah, because what you said assumes that General Khan would have known about it. If you're going to make anything of the fact that he may not have, he didn't comment, if it turns out to be a fact, if you want to make something of that he said nothing, he did not distance himself, then you first have to establish, it seems to me, you first have to establish that he would have known of the incident. And the reason you say he knows of the incident is because it was publicized or it was reported within crime intelligence, if you like. Do we have that kind of background fact?
I can't have that background fact. My point was, if General Khan were here, these are the questions I would put to General Khan. As a crime intelligence officer, it's possible that this would have come to his attention. Maybe not. Maybe it's just a common housebreaking. But we have to see it in context of the conversation with the other member. So we don't know whether there was a report back, for example, to General Khan following this incident. But obviously the first thing would be, if General Khan were here, would be to establish what he knew around the incident.
Yeah, I guess my point is, if he never he never comes to testify, we obviously would, I'm sure he does want, hopefully he wants to come and testify and clarify things. But if he doesn't testify, the point I'm making is there are facts that we don't have, that we don't, as matters stand, that we don't have, that we wouldn't be able to get to that point where we say, well, he failed to distance himself from this, and therefore he is implicated in this. That's the only point I'm seeking to.
That's correct. In the absence of any objective facts
Yes.
To that point, then we would not be able to draw that conclusion or make that inference. That's correct.
Thank you.
Commissioners, I'm terribly sorry to interrupt, but now that I've seen where...
Your mic.
Oh, the red light is on. I'm not sure if you can hear.
Oh, it's shielded by...
Oh, right. Let me just do this. That gives you line of sight. Thank you, Commissioner. Now that I've seen where Ms. Hassam has gone with this morning's evidence, which I emphasize was disclosed to us as proceedings commenced, as you've seen, I reiterate that we are not yet favored with instructions from General Khan. I mentioned that while he is responsive and there is signs of improvement, he is unable to converse with me. I went to the hospital in an attempt to see to what extent he's able to converse. Now, in as much as we don't have instructions, there is the issue of residual rights or residual instruction. I have to act in General Khan's best interest to protect his rights. And what I've just seen this morning as an opening gambit of proceedings troubles me. It troubles me because we were not privy to the intended evidence. We were not privy to where the evidence was intended to be led. And that creates a troubling situation because the impression that is given, in as much as Ms. Hassam says that all of these facts that she leads is circumstantial and then not circumstantial, it has to be one or the other. You can't approbate and reprobate. Either it's circumstantial or it's not. But the difficulty we find here is that we have no instructions on this. We don't know, or we were not given prior notice of this evidence. It becomes worse when one has regard to evidence that was disclosed to us yesterday at 5 minutes to 12. That's additional evidence outside of this small bundle here. And we have to object, or at least for purposes of this proceeding, object to the manner in which this incremental disclosure is coming about. We've previously highlighted and tabled our objection in relation to the disclosure historically, and now there's continuing disclosures. In fact, on Friday, there was additional disclosures in between, which I did not object to because it seemed that it may have been a printing issue. But it's not, because those were material documents. And I now have to wonder whether or not the incremental disclosure and the leading of evidence, essentially by ambush, passes constitutional muster. We contend that it does not. So at the very least, we simply want our objection to be recorded for the manner in which these proceedings are being conducted by the evidence leaders. Ideally, Chairperson and Commissioners, this matter must be postponed until such time as Ms. Hassam tells us that the House is in order, this is the bundle, there's going to be nothing that's going to occur from this point. And at some point in time in the future, hopefully, with General Khan improving in his health, at the minimum, we can put before this commission an affidavit in answer to what Ms. Hassam has led and intends leading. Even if General Khan is unfit to come and testify in person, I would prefer that he is present so that he can refute the evidence, but right now he can't. And factually, and if I may draw from a colloquial expression, they're kicking him while he's down. And it troubles me significantly. Those are my submissions, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Valley. Ms. Hassam?
Chair, unfortunately, this is a commission of inquiry. This is not a trial that we're conducting against General Khan. Information comes to us when it comes to us. The investigations are ongoing. This